What's up everyone, it's Soul and welcome back to my series of horrific vision commentary pieces. This is a pretty big personal project where I take classes that I barely know, like this one, geared up with only outdoor world content and horrific visions, and then completes a 5-chest run. We're back at Stormwind with the Elemental Shaman and maybe, just maybe a little bit more skill. So he's sporting an item level of 442 with no particular focus on Azeroth traits. He's armed with a few corruption pieces, including a level 2 Infinite Star on an item level 420 piece, a level 1 Ineffable Truth, and a cute little Mastery proc. His cloak is rank 11, which means 65% corruption resistance, and has a neck level of freaking 80. Like, wow, time flew really fast. For essences, he is using Glyph of the Dying as his main, and on the side is Purification Protocol, Condensed Life Force, and Crucible of Flame, all rank 3, and all purchased with Echoes of Ny'alotha. For talents, he's running Echo of the Elements, Aftershock, Spirit Wolf, Liquid Magnetotem, Nature's Guardian, Primal Elementalist, and Stormkeeper. For research, he's spec'd for solo play, and has 2 points in Vision Hunter. As always, he's armed with ghastly goulash and a few kebab, and let's get started. So in hindsight, I'm actually recording this after I completed all of the 5-chest runs on every class, and in hindsight, this one was the hardest. Or at least Shaman was the class that I struggled with the most. It's just a lot of buttons. So anyway, I kick it off by mounting up, and I move a little bit to the side so I don't immediately get dazed, although I do anyway. So I just kind of start pushing forward. I think I use a thunderstorm over here to push these guys away. I'm trying to make my way over to the bouncers over here. And I believe here that's where I pop Stormkeeper, start pulling these guys over, and I'm just trying to get like some extra extra lightning stuff in so I can build some more Maelstrom and then throw down Earthquakes. So I eventually got into a groove with this character, which was primarily to build Maelstrom as fast as possible, use Earthquakes, and then use Breath of the Dying to finish off low health mobs. And what was really critical is that I use my Breath of the Dying when they're at low health, so the cooldown is refreshed much faster. So here you see me making a decent use of it here, between whatever casts that I'm able to pull off. Before I tried running with the Essence of the Focusing Iris, and I just couldn't do it. I tried doing that in Orgrimmar, that was a struggle. Same difference here. So I've come back with lessons learned. So I'm using a lot more AoE. This is where I use the Liquid Magma Totem and just whatever the heck AoE that I can possibly do. Unfortunately, I get feared here. I think I threw down a Cap Totem at some point, so like I said, there's a lot of buttons that's involved with this class, and that became a big struggle for me because there's so many different things to press, and I don't really give myself the time to learn them appropriately. Like in hindsight, I could have used a Fire Elemental Totem for that particular pull, given that it has such a short cooldown on it, or at least it's short enough that I can, usually pop something special for each of these more involved pulls, I guess. I still got through though, and it's really thanks to the rank 11 cloak that's going to get me through this. It's not like I consider this a loss, but not being able to get this done until I got to a rank 11 cloak. I mean, I've done it with other classes too, because it just took me too much time. I'm eating a kebab right now, by the way. But it just turned out that I didn't excel very well at this class as much as I wanted to. I did spend a lot of time doing world quests so I can try to get some extra corruption gear. I thought maybe that would help, but I didn't get anything like too crazy. So anyway, so here I go in the Dwarven district. I tried to do a kind of a bigger pull here, because I know that I'm going to be able to pop big cooldowns. I throw down my Earthquake right over there. I use Stormkeeper, get some damage out. I got Rocky going. My Earth Elemental my Earth Elemental Totem is going. So I'm just trying to throw down as many Earthquakes as possible to spread the damage. I have that one talent that makes it proc that, I have a chance for all my Maelstrom to be refunded so I can keep using more of them. And I know that before I kept making numerous mistakes where I would use Earthshock instead of Earthquake, and I really should just, for the most part, just keep using Earthquake. It does a pretty fine job on its own. between possibly doing some light CC and just the overall damage that it does, it's pretty decent. There's only the trouble of course, having to lay down and target enemies with Earthquake. But in hindsight, that seemed to work out. This method seemed to just work out best for me. I don't know. Maybe it feels like the cast times on Shaman feel a little bit too unwieldy. Maybe in Shadowlands things will feel a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more pull of the rest of these guys here. I have plenty of stuff back on, that's off cooldown now, so I use a Stormkeeper, and I try to get closer to these guys just a little bit more so I can start throwing down some more damage, get all the lightning going, and then, of course, plenty of Earthquakes. Earthquakes, Earthquakes, Earthquakes. Make really quick work of all these smaller mobs so I can focus on using Breath of the Dying, which that was a bad one right there. But yeah, I want to try to make good use of Breath of the Dying, utilize that. Down that guy goes. One more target. And that's it for this room. So I'm not doing so bad. Actually, I'm doing pretty good, given the amount of sanity resistance that I have now. 65% is definitely no joke, and for me to struggle the way that I have been, I'm sure that any of you would probably be able to get this thing down, given the similar situation. So I missed one. I almost passed it. Come on, turn around, dude. Turn around. There we go. I think throughout this run, I was just getting a little bit nervous because I knew how difficult this class is for me. Lots of buttons to keep track of. Unlike, say, protection balloting, there's only so many things that I need to keep track of, and I've been doing that for years. So I happened to see a black vial, very precious, especially for this run. And I'm trying to take it pretty darn safe here. There's just certain things that I still didn't really bother doing. I still didn't bother doing like weapon enchants and ring enchants. Or at least maybe I did, but I think when I had replaced something, I didn't bother reapplying anything. So here, this is the one instance where I do opt to use Earth Shock instead of Earthquake, because of course this guy is all by himself. Infinite Stars, that had a nice little proc there, but nothing too huge. But the fact that this fight was so quick, Infinite Stars didn't really play too much of a factor. But down he went, not too much of a problem, and kebab. So you'll probably notice by now, if you've seen a number of these videos, there are certain instances where I'll definitely have a kebab, and it's going to be whenever I re-enter these tainted areas as I'm crossing through into a new area. So now I just gotta take care of this eyeball, get this thing out of the way. Making quick work of that. Well done. Pat myself on the back. And let's go over to Old Town. So I'm really good on sanity right now. You can see that I am at, like 75, 80% stamina. Sanity, I'm sorry. So I just got to take care of these hunters really quick. We're dealing with split personality here, so I just got to be pretty careful about my movements. Dealing with smaller targets like this, it's a little bit tougher for me to do because I feel like I want to save cooldowns for like something big and important, like this pack over here. Trying to make quick work of these guys is pretty important, although I don't even do a great job of that either. This is where I did, in fact, use a cap totem. I just used it a little bit late. I should have used it like early on, maybe about 7 or 8 seconds in. That way, that would be a good indicator as to when these mobs are going to use their Touch of the Abyss. At any rate, I'm going for the Elite now. I just kind of open up hard and fast. Now notice this corner here. I think we're going to try to line of sight this. So you can see the roaring blast. Excuse me. I line of sight it. So then she moves, letting me reposition. And she still does the same attack. So this is something you can do to kind of kite her around a little bit. I probably could if I really wanted to. Just keep kiting her around a corner until she loses her mind. But oh well. That tends to take up a lot more time than normal. So with her down, I make my way around, get that black vial, get sort of stuck. Yeah, there we go. Let's get out of here. Let's go for the stealth mobs in this small area here, as well as try to grab that guy over there. the informant over here, and as well as the rest of this pack here. Now this pack is pretty dangerous. There is there's a stun, there's an executioner. This is where I make use of cap totem, of course, as well as throwing down a bunch of earthquakes to take down the more the more badder mobs, the more dangerous ones. You can see my health is dipping down to around the 50% or so. It's mostly the executioner, guys, so definitely make sure that you take care of this guy. CC him if you need to, stun him, all those things definitely help. But once he's down, and everyone else happened to go down just before him, my HP will just start restoring pretty darn quickly. So as we get up to the next elite person, I'll take care of the informant. These shadow blades, these guys aren't a big deal, except for altering cast times. These guys can be dangerous for casters because of the slow that they apply. But otherwise, they're not super dangerous. It just takes a while to take them out. Or you can maybe cleanse the poisons and stuff too. But yeah, with this thing cleared out, split personality is causing me enough delays. Notice I only needed to move about 10 or so yards. So if I position myself earlier, I'll be able to chain pull much better. So you can see I'm not making very good use of my magma totem. There were periods where during this haul or during this stretch of street that I could have used my fire elemental totem as well. So there's just a lot that I'm underutilizing with this class. Maybe it's because he's an orc and not a blood elf. You know, that might be it. That very much might be it. So I pull these guys, and as usual, just use everything that I've got, the tools that are available for me. It's just a matter of remembering what I have. And then, yeah, remembering what I have is, well, that's no joke. You can see my health has dipped a little bit more thanks to me keeping that executioner alive for a little bit too long. But everything's dead now. It's time to proceed over to Shaw. So I still have 3 orbs left. Kind of crazy, huh? The difference that a rank 10 and a rank 11 cloak make. But at any rate, I pull Shaw. I go ahead and hit him kind of hard because I know he's going to disappear within, 6 to 8 seconds of the fight beginning. And then from there, that's when I start to get a little bit more serious. I pop Stormkeeper, throwed in a couple of strong single target spells. He's still down to about half life though. This brings him down a little bit more by using a Reaping Flames, although that was not used very efficiently. I ended up using, you can see that my Reaping Flames is on the full cooldown now. But doing my best. I'm able to get some good procs in. Some pretty strong lava bursts, and one more crit there, and down he goes. Go me. So now we're done with Old Town. It's time to head back and start moving over to the Trade District. But not before having a little bit of coffee, and I believe I might have some kebab. Nope, I don't, because my sanity is pretty full as it is anyway, so doesn't seem to be a big deal. All right, so now this particular stretch of Trade District, I tend to have some really haphazard results when trying to do big pulls here, because of the really strong pulsing magic damage, the appendages, and the multiple stuns that come out from these mobs. So this is what I sometimes do. I'll end up doing like kind of a half pull of these guys right here. So I'm still taking some pretty significant damage. There's still at least one tentacle that I have to deal with, but I'm able to manage this a lot better without having to do a whole lot of repositioning other than line of sighting those first couple of ads, including the tentacle. So you saw right there just a well-timed earthquake as well as the magma totem does a really good number on these guys. It melts their faces pretty darn quick. Unfortunately, I ended up using and going through all my different cooldowns. Stormkeeper is still on cooldown. Here I fail to move. Yeah, there we go. I get stunned by that, but not before throwing out that earthquake, which will get some good damage out. And here we go, trying to stay a little bit closer to the tentacle to make sure that it doesn't burrow and delay me even more than I'd want it to. And down goes this one last mob, a couple of lightning bolts, and a prize, a black vial. Sweet. So now we just got to move on to the next pack, which is to the back here. Usually I grab all of these along with the pack with the two tentacles. I think here, because I've had previous experiences on this character where I would just die or I would end up using an extra life, I take the safe route because I'm at such a stage that I can afford to, be a little bit more careful. My sanity isn't so much my concern; it's more life actually. Once your sanity resistance gets to a certain point, it's just a matter of being able to survive the pulls and not wasting too much time. So, for example, um, you know, either pulling too slowly or just ending up, I don't know, maybe just kind of having a mind fart, kind of like how I am right now. So I open up really big on this particular guy. Now there are a lot of tricks that I can use, either things that I can interrupt, I can cleanse curses because that agonizing torment, it's a channeled spell, but I can interrupt him by decursing myself, which is pretty darn nifty. And he goes down pretty quick. So now it's off to the next guy. I have plenty of I have some cooldowns available, but as usual, I end up not using almost any of them. I'm mostly relying, like I said, I'm just relying on the Azeroth essence. There's me throw down a little magma totem, mostly so I can get some extra damage in while I am silenced. And that's really important too. For most classes, just try to apply or reapply your dots when he's doing this channel, so that way, as you're doing nothing but running away, unless you decide to use a cooldown and otherwise break this particular mechanic, just try to get a dot in. That'll help. As you can see, I'm looking pretty good. I have almost a full bar of sanity. I have 2 orbs left. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident about this, but even now, just doing commentary on this, I know how clumsy I can get. And if you've seen a number of these runs, you know that sometimes I can get pretty clumsy with things and yet somehow still pull through. Of course, that's mostly because I only show you the wins, not the losses. And trust me, I've had quite a few screw-ups too. At any rate, the area is clear. All the relevant mobs are dead, and we're just kind of backtracking, of course, taking care of these. And hey, cool treasure. Not really a big deal, but hey, treasure, not so bad. Just after this, just one more, and then we are off to our favorite place, to the Mage Quarter. Oh, baby. So here's me being a goof. I hit the portal, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to the Mage Quarter. So, whoops. So, yeah, there's me losing a little bit of focus there. Being a little bit, I don't know what I was. Was I cocky? Was I nervous? But I mean, it's not so much lost time. I lose a couple of precious seconds, so it's not the end of the world. Hopefully no other interruptions here. Go ahead and take care of the eyeball with great rage. Down it goes. And I'm a little bit slow here. Those, that poop on the ground, that does a whole lot of damage. You want to be very careful that you make sure you don't stand on that stuff for too long. Popping an AoE will help shrink that really quick. So right now I'm having my last kebab, one of the last kebabs that I'll have before fighting Ilaria. And as usual, I want to have as much stuff as possible. I want to have a full bar and an extra life if possible. So if I can get away with that, then Ilaria will go down with not too much trouble at all. Given that I'm a ranged class as well, I definitely have a bit of an advantage when fighting her, since I can kind of peek out behind pillars and whatnot. But anyway, let's get there first. So I pull big, going for this appendage so I can wait for it to come down. Hello, person. Purification Protocol does a really good number on these guys. You might have seen that every now and then I'll do like almost 50k AoE damage on all affected targets. Really good stuff. So here I'm at a little bit around half sanity. I don't want to pop an orb here, so instead I might as well go ahead and grab some extra mobs here, get some work done before my sanity does get low to a point where it's like, hey, cool, okay, now's a good time to use my orb, get that stuff back, because otherwise it would just be wasted sanity. So I might as well pull other mobs in the meantime. Of course, I'm going for the Voidwalker mob first. That Void Buffet is definitely nothing to play games with. So that thing down. I lean left a little bit because I know that there's going to be another pack of guys to take care of in the corner. And I have plenty of time to do it. So I'll open up with Lava Burst, go for the Voidwalker once again, focus him down almost exclusively. This is where I could have used another Cap Totem or a Fear Totem. A Tremor Totem, I'm sorry. Could have used something like that to help control this particular encounter, but it wasn't so bad at any rate. Maybe if I attempt to do 5 masks with this particular character, and I don't think I will, but if I was, then I would definitely be using a lot more tricks. So anyway, the place is pretty clear aside from the lingering mobs. And these lingering mobs, these really add a whole lot of chaos to the mix. But anyway, I pop Stormkeeper. I use that to pull. I'm just straight up standing in the stuff, just taking a whole bunch of sanity damage while the orb negates all that stuff. Throwing down Earthquakes to take care of the random mobs that pop in. But I'm just melting this guy. And in Infinite Stars, it appears that it finishes off that mob. And my sanity is full. I have 1 full bar left. I have my extra life, and I'm feeling pretty good at this point. Don't get too cocky, though, of course. I might take a wrong turn somewhere. You know what I mean? Of course you do. There's another proc of Purification Protocol. It's a real sleeper. You know what I mean? It's a real sleeper of a damage dealer. Like, you don't really notice, but it's like you hear that distinctive clink sound, and all of a sudden mobs just falling. Like, wait, what was that? Oh, that was the Azeroth Minor Essence. Great, cool. So these guys are giving me a little bit of trouble. I'm trying not to get nervous at this point because I know that anything could happen with these things. Least of which would be like a disconnect. That would be super unfortunate. So I'll go ahead and go for these guys. Again, going for the Voidwalker first. Somehow I'm feared through split personality. Like, you kind of saw that I was going between the different circles, which might have been beneficial for me. Could have been a bug, but not the kind of bug that I really want to try and replicate. So you notice that these mobs just keep piling up. And I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated here. I'm like, why are so many of these things popping up at the same time? This is, it's unusual. But I do clear them out, make my way over to this guy over here, open up kind of big, use Stormkeeper, get some strong single target out. He's already down to about half or so life, and thankfully I'm ranged, so it's easy for me to get out of rain of fire unless I get disoriented. So don't get disoriented, please. I'll use an Earthquake on these Marshmallow guys, on these little Voidwalkers. It does a really good bit of damage on them, but of course you want to make sure you get out of the explosion. At any rate, the elite goes down with very little trouble. I take a little bit of sanity damage, but it's hardly a big deal. I got plenty of gas left. So here I go, hanging out in Ghost Wolf for a while. Cool, that was a good one. Let's climb our way up, make our way to the end. A little over half sanity. Yeah, we're looking good. So from here, I believe when I did this run, I think this was my first go here as a shaman, I think, maybe. But this particular area, I was a little bit nervous about this. I'm always nervous about this particular area because there's only so much I can do about entropic missiles, and if I kick entropic missiles, I won't be able to do anything about polymorph. But you saw right there, as I was going across, I was able to use my liquid magma totem and just lay it down on the other side there, so that way Umbra immediately stops his cast. That's something that I was just kind of thinking of, and I wasn't too sure about. I'm like, screw it, let's go ahead and give this a shot. And I think at this point, I probably could have used another totem. Even right now, while I'm doing my commentary, I'm asking myself, could I have used another totem, like a tremor totem or something? I don't know if I could even target that sort of stuff. What do I do? So, still speaking from ignorance, I just whoop on this guy. He goes down much faster than I thought he would. I still have an orb left. This is good. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm at the home stretch for the most difficult of all the classes that I have had to experience when doing these horrific vision runs. I had a really hard time with this shaman. For all the reasons that I was talking about, just my struggle with pressing so many different buttons, and then of course there is kind of the wear down with having to learn all these different classes like kind of simultaneously. I was trying to progress on maybe 4 characters or so at a time to avoid overwhelming myself. But anyway, let's get back to this fight. So I unload everything I've got: bloodlust and elementals and all the good stuff. Not messing around. So my sanity bar is still quite full. I'm just trying to throw in anything and everything that I can in the meantime. It's time for me to get away from chains. I'm still looking at the eyeball, but it's still not a big deal. I'm just trying to throw down anything that I can. So the liquid magma totem goes out. Every proc of lava burst is going out. Reapplying my dots. Just any cast that I can get in. And I can see myself there on screen. I'm just like in the zone. I'm like, all right, come on, just stay totally concentrated. It felt as intense as me doing like a 5-mask run on the paladin for the first time. Like I really wanted this win. I really needed this one. And down she goes. The toughest, somehow the toughest horrific vision for me. Whew. And with a sigh of relief, down it goes, and there's my achievements. Thank goodness it's over. For the shaman, at least. I still have a way to go. This didn't happen to be the final character that I completed visions with, but in hindsight, the toughest. So props to shaman who can handle juggling all these different sorts of buttons for all these different sorts of situations. It's not my cup of tea. At all. But what did I get? Not too much. You saw the loot. I kind of missed it just right now, but that's going to be it for me. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This was very eye-opening for me, and I hope that this helps you in some small way. Maybe you can flex knowing that you would do so much better than I ever could. And it looks like I'm able to get that last point now. 1 point away from getting Gift of the Titans. Go me. But at any rate, that's going to be it for me. You guys have a good one, and I will see you for the next vision run. Oh, and of course, don't forget to like the video, like I said, and subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. See you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.